Alright, who's stuck in right now? I love her. I like what she's saying. She's talking about community. She said she's from Ireland. Like she doesn't have she realized that everybody's a sister. Everybody's she's like when she came to Toronto, everybody's friendly. But I feel we're losing a sense of community. If I have to put it in my own words, and I agree with that. As a leader will go talk to her after. I'm like, okay, what solutions do you feel we can do to bring more community? I mean, but I feel like one thing I realized, we don't want to be. It's not us. It's really, nigga, we are in the same country, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all on the same team, even though sometimes we're running for the same position. But at the end of the day, we should have the mindset we're all on the same team. What are solutions? Like, you might know some that I might not know. You might have a solution, you know, where like Ray Dalio likes to say an idea of meritocracy, you know what I mean? Who has the best idea and stuff, where the best idea wins. But let's go.
And I saw welcoming neighbours.
All right, 13.
What I see today isn't necessarily the same. It is an us versus them. There's no more social inclusion and social cohesion, and our leaders have been making us divisive. So that is why I'm running and asking you respectfully to listen and make your own opinions.
They're asking you everything. Why are you running for the position of councillor?
At City Hall.
She's explaining.
Thank you.
Chris Moise.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Moyes, also running for City Council here in Toronto Centre. I came to Canada when I was 6 years old, and I have lived in Toronto Centre for the last 19 years, right here in this ward. I have rooted myself here. I worked at St. Mike's Hospital for 22 years in the emergency department, working as an addictions counselor, mainly focusing on those suffering from mental health and addiction and underhoused. I also own a business in the community down in the St. Lawrence market for the last 17 years. So I'm very rooted here. And for the last 6 years, I've been your elected school board trustee.
You're a cameraman. What are you doing, cameraman? Where you going?
In the schools and in the community, bringing resources to our community. And I'm very proud of that. Toronto Centre is a great place to live, to work, and to raise a family. But yes, it's become very expensive. And I want to say to you that I want to work with you, the community, to be your leader, to make sure we have affordable housing, our communities are safe, and also too, we have great transit across the ward. We know that the Ontario line is coming through, and we know there's a lot of things happening in our community. I only have very little time to actually go through my intro, but I do want to say to you that we have a limited time here today to talk about things in a comprehensive way, but I do have a comprehensive platform online at electchrismoyes.ca, so please take the time, go through my comprehensive platform, and make an informed decision. Thank you so much.
That's interesting. He's ready. He has a platform. No promotion. That's nice. That's nice.
Hello? I guess, okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Colin Johnson, and I'm running to be your city councillor for this ward. I came here so many years ago. I think the dinosaurs were still roaming the streets, okay? I have lived, grown up in this ward. I have partied, I have played, I have loved. But I think what really matters to me about this ward is that it's still a community. There's still these little pockets, Cabbagetown, St. Jamestown. All of them have their own individual realities and lives and liberties. There are people there who have grown up there and who've been cemented there for decades. Yes, there have been challenges, and there definitely are challenges. Transportation, housing, the poisoning site, the crisis. All of these affect all of us. Safety, health. Where do your children go to school? What I say to you is that this is still our place. Toronto is still our city. My platform and my growth is about creating Toronto 2.0.
2.0.
Not remaining the way we are. We cannot continue to be the way we are. I want to move forward.
I agree with that.
I want you to move forward with
We
me.
need to move forward, Brady.
I want to listen to you.
Sure, too
because
stagnant.
I think that is how we're going to get things done. But my purpose is to be on City Hall, so when you tell me stuff, I tell them. Thank you very much.
Okay, sure. So now we're getting. Does the councillor have a little bit of a sway on housing and transportation? Because I know we do represent the people of our ward, but how much influence, like, I mean, because I don't like talking about shit like housing and all that without understanding how it works. I like to understand something before I talk about, you know what I mean? So for me, I'd probably learn about housing. How does it affect? I mean, I've been in real estate, so I understand a bit of real estate.
Okay, we're good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I don't like to talk about shit I don't understand. I like to grasp the situation.
So my name is Dave Ramsmer. I'm the
Anyway.
founder of the Global Change Initiative,
Well, I love the
and
other
Global
guy.
Change
He's nice.
Institute, which is an educational-based organization that focuses on inclusion, diversity, equity, and belonging, not only within our communities, but within our cities. I've worked with a number of cities across the globe to help utilize global systemic change within their cities, to build responsible change within their cities. I've also worked with a number of Canadian cities to do that as well. My background is, as a Toronto resident. I was born here. I was born in this very ward 38 years ago. I was raised in this ward. I started a business in the ward. I also had a part-time job in the ward. I also went to school in the ward. I was also married in the ward. I was divorced in the ward. I also had an apartment in the ward.
I'm listening, but
I
I'm
lived in a condo, had a house.
I'm
I was
critiquing
also
the
homeless
outfits a
in the
little
ward.
bit. I'm critiquing everybody's outfit.
And so what I want to bring to City
Critiquing
Council
this
is
nigga outfit,
something
bro.
unique. I want to bring your voice to that City Council. And as I've said in a number of other presentations, I have one job. And that is to hear you, to see you, to understand you, to bring your concerns to that City Hall. With the
Why are you
experience
wearing
that I
that
have
with
over the
that,
last
bro?
25
You
years
can, that's not
of working
good.
with the
That's
Global
not
Change
good, man.
Initiative,
That's
the
just
Global
my
Change
opinion, my
Institute,
bad.
understanding the difference between the bureaucracy and how the community
No.
works, and how to bring those community concerns to the city. I see you, I hear you, I understand you, because I am you. And that's why I want to represent each and every one of you at City Hall. Thank you very much.
You're nice. He's an interesting person. I wanted to see, like, he has a whole different outfit. So I'm kind of curious to know what is he want to run for?
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Can you hear me at the back? All right. My name is Miguel Avila. I'm originally from South America, Peru. I'm indigenous. I have lived in this world since 2011. I had 3 children, Melissa, Michael, and Michelle. I have lived in Toronto for over 32 years.
I'm looking at body movement, how confident, their voice,
over these
how are they
32
projecting,
years,
how are they
I see so much
communicating.
injustices done to poor people, disabled people. And that is the reason I'm running for City Council, because the opportunity came out as Christy Wontang. I want to acknowledge Christy Wontang. She has been one of our best allies at City Hall. I say this because I'm also a member of the Regent Park Neighborhood Association. And thanks to the collaboration of her office and Susie Morrison, our former MP, we were able to achieve $26.8 million for community benefits for this neighborhood, part of phases 4 and 5 revitalization. The other reason I'm running for council is because Doc Ford in 2018 cut city council seats from 44 to 26. And that is shameful. Our voices have been reduced. Our opportunity to speak for our community has been decimated. So now I have an opportunity to bring that voice that is missing, the voice of indigenous people at City Hall. We don't have currently no representation that speak for indigenous peoples at Toronto City Hall, and that's what I'm trying to change. Bringing the experience of indigenous lives, especially when we don't have no housing and that is shameful. Thank you.
Okay, he's going niche a little bit. He's focusing on a particular community, which is good, is nice, smart.
Thank you for coming, for staying engaged, for participating in
I don't think
democratic process.
I thought I was shorty for a
My
second.
name is Nikki Ward. That's okay, thanks. That's a little early for an applause break, but thank you anyway. My name is Nikki Ward. I grew up in a place a lot like this, but before that I got to travel a bit, and I came here on a business trip a little over 35 years ago, and I fell in love. It was a moment, I can remember it vividly like it was yesterday. I fell in love with Toronto Centre. I'd been working in the United States and that wasn't working for me. What I found here was the perfect mixture of North American hustle, some opportunities that weren't available to me growing up, but also this wonderful flavor that others have described, this kind of village within a city. And all of that encompassed in a caring environment, which is what I grew up in. An area where we care for each other, with health, with mutual benefits. So that's why I decided on the spot that this is where I wanted to live. Now I grew up with the notion of service, give of yourself what you can. And in that time, I've done things for this community that with other people. I've been on the board of directors of the 519, which is a city agency, and done an awful lot of work up there in the LGBT community. I've also, I'm on the board of directors of my own co-op. I'm a big believer in co-op housing at City Park. I'm on the board of directors there. And I've also engaged in federal work to change human rights at the charter level, the Constitution of Canada. And with a team, was proud to lead the team to change and include gender identity and gender expression at the federal level. And that is the most important piece of legislation, most difficult piece of legislation that is possible to change. But in addition to those social ideas, I've also got a background in the business community. I used to be the vice president of an insurance company with a large number of employees, a large budget measured in millions of dollars. And I think now what I need in this ward is a combination of small business skills, but also the large business skills to deal with the fact that this ward is now the size of a small city. Anyway, I hope to convince you that this is a good place to place your vote. My name is Nikki Ward. Thank you.
Okay, articulate.
Thank you so much, all the candidates, for introducing yourself and also sharing your thoughts and opinions on why you're running for the City Council. Now we move on to getting and inviting our candidates' thoughts on certain prepared questions which were sent by members of our community. These questions have already been shared with the candidates via email yesterday. You have 1.5 minutes to answer these questions each, and I will share the order in which all of you will answer. So the order is the same as your introductions for this question. So we'll start from here and we'll move on to Nikki. The question that was sent by a member of the Moss Park community is, how will you support the Moss Park community for the implementation of a fully funded social development plan that will address important needs for the community? Caroline, can I please start with you?
Thank you again. So, the Moss Park Social Development Plan is actually part of my platform. The work that has been done in Moss Park is inspiring. But in order for Moss Park to succeed, we as a city need to come together and we need to make sure that the relevant funds are available for their social development plan. And to that end, I will fight tooth and nail to get every dollar. You know, at least $500,000 is coming to Regent Park, and we've seen the success that is so developed.
We funded the Moss Park community for the implementation of a fully funded social development plan that will address important needs for the community. Caroline, can I please start with you?
Moss Park Social Development Plan is actually part of my platform. The work that has been done in Moss Park is inspiring. But in order for Moss Park to succeed, we as a city need to come together and we need to make sure that the relevant funds are available for their social development plan. And to that end, I will fight tooth and nail to get every dollar. You know, at least 500,000 is coming to Regent Park, and we've seen the success that a social development plan has, and the work that is going on by leaders like us right here. It's inspiring. And we as a city have to recognize the importance of social inclusion and social cohesion. I will say it over and over again, and we must find the monies. The city can afford it, because we cannot afford not to support the Moss Park development plan and everything that
Happy
means
Halloween.
to that community. And the Roots group, and the fact that people are lining up for food. We must come together, and the funding is available. We can make it happen, and I will do everything in my power as your councillor to be the advocate, to be the voice, and to make sure that the monies are secured, because the expense of not, it's not worth it. Thank you.
So what I'm understanding is, okay, so it's the councillor is particular to the ward that you're in. So what are like the parks that you should? I mean, I should learn more about the parks, the landscape, the particular communities. Cause Moss Park, dude. So what's going on physically? So it's basically like understanding the problems. Okay, I see. Okay, I see. She's really understanding the problems of your ward, who lives there, and you're like a leader, and you just, oh shit. And you're just like a mini leader, and you're just just understanding, you're serving. You're just basically, it's no different than being the best leader. A great leader serves his people. So I have to understand my people. You know what I mean? So I have to understand. So I'm trying to see, okay, does councillor have any other responsibilities, or we just like voice the voices, but how much do we influence? That's what I'm trying to say, is like how much, what are our responsibilities, what are like, right? Yeah, I did the right one. What are our responsibilities? Let me see. Yeah, like how much, I'm trying to see how much influence do we actually have, or just like I said, it is glorified a little bit. I'm trying to see reality wise, are we just, it's like a student council president running, I'm going to make sure that lunch is free, but you know damn well you can't make no lunch free. Like, like you're a student council, you know what I mean? Like you're not, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to see if it's in that way. Nigga roach. I'm saying, bro, I'm just like y'all, bro, fucking Scarborough, bro. Rats be coming. I'm like, how the frick did a rat just get inside? You know what I mean? Freaking Scarborough, bro. You be seeing the craziest shit in Scarborough. You be seeing animals, and I swear, I seen a reindeer, bro, next to the hospital. I looked at it, bro, like the one close to Scarborough town a little bit. Let's get back to the subject. But Scarborough, bro, my days. Maybe that should be one of the qualifications, making our streets cleaner. No kids, bro. A lot of people be dirty here. They be throwing shit like on the ground. I'm just walking, I'm seeing like they're putting stuff on the ground. I'm like, what the hell is a garbage? You know what I mean? Like, people be drinking. Like, I drink, but you won't. I'm not a person to drink, and you just, you know what I mean? And just throw it on the ground, or just like, if I smoke, I'm not gonna throw it on the ground. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? Like, have a little courtesy. Bro. Let's get back.
Thank you.
I'm starting to get a sense of what a councillor is, but let's go continue.
Park Social Development Plan, yes, but I just want to be clear. There's no plans right now for revitalizing Moss Park. But I do want to work with the community to make sure that the community, I work with them. They decide what they want. They decide what they want to see, and I'll work with them to implement that. I have the experience working the school board, working with the indigenous community to bring forth a JK to 12 school. And that vision came from the indigenous community. And I will treat the Moss Park revitalization the exact same way and bring about the benefits that we've seen in Regent Park. And also too, we know that, you know, with the Eglinton line, for example, we had 10% of the workers there be hired by the local community. Those sort of things I want to see. The Ontario line is coming through in the Moss Park area. We need to have a voice as to what benefits we receive when that line is being built. And additionally, I'm still running out of time, but again, the Moss Park Community Center is being revitalized. And we need to make sure there's public consultation so that the community voice is heard and perhaps replicate or perhaps like the Regent Park Community Center and pool. So again, there are opportunities there for all of us to have a voice.
My problem is, I guess I'm getting trying to realize the community's voice. And I know I'm looking at this black man, I'm looking there's a white woman, I'm looking there's like indigenous.
Okay,
So what do you mean by community? Do you see the same or like do every council I mean city councillor, do they really see the community to the fullest, or they tackle the majority? Okay, this is the majority, boom. So I'm gonna tackle you, and you know what I mean. Some of the voices through the majority, some of their needs might get met, but they're not majority like that. Okay, majority and what can we call? I forgot the other word. Minority, and the minority community might not be represented, but they're the majority. They're still getting some of their needs met, because you know I'm not articulating it right, but you know you get what I'm trying to say is. Because everybody's saying community is broad. Who is part of your community? I'm trying to realize that. I think that's one difference I think I can distinguish is not only saying community, I'm listing out specific with it. I'm very strategic with it. Okay, this is, when I say community, I'm talking about boom, 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 boom. I don't want to miss anything. That's just me. I'm not saying this is just me. I just don't. You know what I mean? I'm just meticulous in that way. You know what I mean? I really want to win. When I say I'm trying to be the best, I'm trying to be the best. So what they mean by community specifically? Who are you representing? They're being very broad. See what I'm saying? But that's what I'm trying to say. So maybe that's one difference. I can get specific. Who are the communities in the Ward 23? Who are, and when they talk about community, do they mean race? Do they mean religious communities? Do they mean like, you see what I'm saying? Okay. Who are all the communities in Ward 23? Write that down. I continue.
I'm going to begin with just an easy statement. We need to change
23
the
minutes.
master
What a
plan
coincidence.
so it becomes a revitalization plan and not just what it is right now. Okay? And right now there is no money set out to actually make any changes to provide for things like a library, schools. If you're going to change an area, you need to make it feasible for families to exist and live there. That's what makes a community. If you do not have schools, if you do not have libraries, then nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
You need to make it feasible for families to exist.
That's what makes a community.
That's what makes a community. If you do not have schools, if you do not have libraries, then nothing is going to happen. Right now,
Kinda right.
that is
Parks,
is
that's what
actually
brings
one of
people
the
together,
places
you know what I
where
mean?
suffering
Like, that's what
from
brings
opioid
people
crisis,
together.
which is something that has not really been mentioned by most of the people here. We need to address that realistically, because that is what is affecting issues of safety within our community. We need to address the opioid crisis. We need to address the fact that children, young people are not being engaged by having issues and places that they can go. That is part of what
His
we're trying to change with the
his age, his look, and the way he's talking, there's a little charisma to him, you know?
My promise to you is it will not be a social development plan, it will be a revitalization plan. Thank you.
I guess my only fear for a person like that, he has a charisma, he knows what he wants, but it's more as can he apply?
There we go. There we are. Now we're working. Thank you.
Like, what are gonna
So,
be?
in terms
Like, he has all of those plans, he has the charisma, he's been here, and he communicates, articulates well. He says what needs to be said. Why? I don't know, he feels human. I'm trying to find the word. What makes him, you know what I mean? He feels like more human. I think it's because in the beginning how you talk, like, I made love here, I wait here. Like, you saying, oh, you just like me, bro. Like, you were just a kid, but you grew up, you got more matured. It's like, I'm not like, he's making it seem like he's not far reach. He's more relatable than the other ones. Because, you know, as a young, you know, we party here. Come on, man. I guess we all been youngins. We all did some stuff here, you know what I mean? Like, we all, you know what I mean? Then we matured. Got a family, you know what I mean? Like, that's so basically what he's hearing. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of memories were made here in this country, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I be thinking, like, oh, the young days, man. I'm like, all the ignorant shit we used to do, man. Like, oh, but it all adds to, you know what I mean? Like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, that's why we like this place, is like, but saying too much, I'm just rambling, but that's why, I don't know, because I'm trying to see, like, I try to pinpoint what exactly attracts me to this person. What exactly do I agree with this person? For example, the Caroline Murphy, I like that she wants community. Like, I can realize, you know, that's the vibe I get from her. Is like, I'm trying to get community. At the same time, do I feel like she has the, for example, if she's making a point, if someone cuts her off, is she gonna let that person cut her off? Or does she have the, like I said, it's a war zone in a sense. You gotta know it's a war zone. It's not really, you may have good points, but you as a person don't have the character to make those points do. You don't have the skills to, like, you know what I mean? It's like a presence. You can't be intimidated. You can't be too shy. You gotta be like, this is my point. I'm gonna speak. It will not bother me when I speak. I'm all, you know, gotta make your presence known. And we need to know you're that type of person, so we know that you are our voices. Since you represent our voices being heard. If you're too shy, our voice is not gonna be heard. If you're too, if you're too ignorant or you're too gullible, you might get manipulated into thinking our voices are heard. But you know what I mean, or you might realize there's roadblocks, or you might not fully understand a point that you are, like, housing and transport. You realize you are not fully understand the gram, you know, like, you don't really understand the whole scope of it, and now you might get manipulated and stuff, you know what I mean? So in that sense, when I really look at the person, you know what I mean? I really look at the, like, you have a nice, like, your charisma, you know how to articulate everything well, you know how to say what we want to hear, but when it comes to applying it, are you able to apply it? Because at the end of the day, we want change. At the end of the day, we want to know that you did at least, well, we know as a leader you're not perfect, but at least you did everything in your power to get our voice heard or do what we need to do for change. Because he's going for change, like movement. That's why I think I like about him is, like, he's saying, I agree with, I feel like as a society we are a bit stagnant, and we need something. We're going in loops, complaining, but nothing is happening, bro. It's like, where is this going? It's like everything is breaking apart slowly and surely, you know what I mean? But yeah. And that's why I feel my understanding body language is important. I'm starting to see, okay, this is how you dress is important in a sense, but I say more just charisma and body language. You wanna show that you're confident, you know what I mean? Show the people that you're competent too. So I'm gonna have to work on that. Articulate how you articulate, you know what I mean? It shows confidence too. So it might be one of those, you know.
of looking at this as a revitalization plan or as a city strategic plan, what I would like to actually look at first is, what does the community want? And as I mentioned before, I see you, I hear you, I understand you. Nothing is done without you. Consultation from the community. What would you like to see each and every step of the way? I would like to look at that community as public safety and mental health first. This is something that we need to address within the community, not just within Moss Park, but within all of Ward 13. Community safety and mental health together combined as one. I would like to look at that. I would also like to look at how do we create better access to transit for each and every person. Transit is something that allows us to get around not only in our ward, but get out of the ward, get out to our family, friends, suburbs, whatever it is. You name it, fill in the blank. Transit is important. Transit has also become very unaffordable. Transit has also become very inaccessible to people that need it most. What I would like to look at is, as the former chair, to move the Big Move Task Force and encourage Metrolinx to spend $2 billion.
I like how he's prepared. Like, he knows what he's saying. There is no,
Look at the same at doing
like,
that.
he's not,
Sorry, I see my time
he's not
is
doing,
going.
he's not doing,
I would like to look at the
he's
same with
doing,
policing to create the
time management could be better, but
community safety and mental health.
he knows what he's,
And
he knows the
also,
points
as
that he
a
wants to
city
say, and he's saying it.
Consult with the community. What are those things you need? Thank you very much.
I mean, he knows what he wants to say, so he's prepared. That's what I like.
Most Park revitalization is important because, as my colleagues had said, we have an addiction problem in this community, and we need to deal with those illness in our society. I agree with the statement made by Chris with regards the indigenous ability to protect the land. And in that regards, there is a petition going on to save 56 streets in Moss Park from being cut down right now. So please go see my sister over there. She's signing out people to stop the cutting of 56 streets, because that's what indigenous people would do. It's save trees, save the water, save the land. And I believe that the Regent Park Neighborhood Association is a good model that most Park can follow up, because we were able to secure money for our communities. Needless to say, the phases 1, 2, and 2 was a total disaster. We only achieved 31 jobs and 12 opportunities for home ownership, and we're gonna do better on phases 4 and 5. Thank you.
The question is, how will you support the Moss Park community for the implementation of a fully funded social development plan that will address
I
important needs
totally
for this
missed the
community?
radio. What the fudge?
Thank you. The answer is, firstly, by doing my homework before I get here, and secondly, by actually attending the meetings to deal with this project specifically. So I attended one on several, most recent of which was on October 3rd. So without getting into the details, because we don't have all that much time, I can point to a few examples of where I've already been at work trying to help the community before I actually get the job that I'm applying for. We know that there's a swimming pool over here that has never been fully functioning. There's a whirlpool in there that seems to leak at the drop of a hat. The heating constantly broken. It was only after a lot of people, not just me admittedly, but a lot of people brought attention to the fact that we have a swimming pool over here that has been much touted, but doesn't actually work, that it got fixed. See, this is the point. As your councillor, I can change the laws, but more importantly, I can use the power of office to shame people into doing the right thing. To speak more about the Community Development Fund here, it is shameful that developers
It's good.
build the building and then pay afterwards. That's the current system. In our platform, what we're saying is, give us the community benefits in advance, in cash, and then if you build it or don't build it, that
It's good because he's showing the people, your voices are going to be heard, nigga. Your voices are going to be heard. I know I can change rules, blah, blah, blah. I'm showing like, boom. You know what I mean? Like, he's showing like, okay, I'm not afraid. He's showing I'm not afraid. If I have to put in one word, he's showing I'm not afraid. And that's powerful. Like, he's saying a brutish, honest truth, which might scare most people, but the people that really like live in the community, it could be one of them. Is like, oh, damn, he's right, bro. Like, yo, he's saying something. Like, I've been coming to this community all my life, and I noticed this, and I noticed this problem for like so while. Why are they not changing it? And whoa, he's bringing it up. He's not afraid to bring it up. You know what I mean? That's what people like.
It's your problem. That way, the Community Development Fund doesn't become our problem long after the building has been built and the developers are long gone. So those two practical examples of how to answer the precise question that's been asked. Thank you.
It's also saying, I'm out here, bro. I'm in here. I'm in the field.
Awesome. Thank you so much for our candidates for your responses for this question. Moving on to the second question, second prepared question. The second question is the developments in our neighborhoods and the challenge of affordable housing by those seeking to profit from access to basic housing has made it difficult for many of us. How will you invest in more affordable and deeply affordable rental programs as well as rent-to-own for lower-income residents in our neighborhoods? We're going to go in the order, starting off with Chris, then Colin, Dave, Miguel, Nikki, then Carolyn. Chris, please.
Thank you for the question. You know, we are in a housing crisis, and we have been for some time. And there are initiatives that are taking place right now, and there are initiatives that could be done immediately to resolve some of the issues. For example, building triplexes and duplexes across all neighborhoods across the city. That one initiative can actually make a significant difference. And I know it's been a long time since we actually built co-op housing here in Canada. But there's $1.5 billion available from the federal government to actually build co-op housing. And the city needs to tap into those resources to make that happen. Yes, there are things in place that slows that down, but you know, we need to work with the federal government and work with the private sector and nonprofit groups to make sure we start building those housing. Second, I know the city also have started, time kills me. The city also is willing to actually give lands to nonprofit developers to actually build deep, low-income housing. And again, that is something that I will make sure that is done quickly, and so that we can actually
I kind of like
live in a more
lost
affordable
focus a little
city.
bit. It's teaching. Yeah. So the thing what I'm learning is when you are speaking, when I'm going to be speaking, I should be more charismatic. My goal should be when I'm talking, so to gauge the
Hi,
to bring
everybody. I live
engagement.
in Toronto community housing. I was one of those.
When he speaks, like,
I
oh, everybody
know
listens to
what
you.
it's like to be out there
You don't want to be
with
too
no place
boring.
to go.
I was
Have to
home
build a
because your mind
shelter.
might just wander.
So there are a couple of things we need to consider. What do we mean by affordable housing? Like,
Mm.
it's different for everybody. Some people, depending on what you make, it's affordable. Other people, it's not. So I think we need to look at this from a couple of ideas. A, employment, because that would help a lot of people out of this issue. But we also need, as a city, to start building and investing in what we consider to be affordable housing. That lies on the purview of the Toronto Community Housing Corporation. So my first thing is to fix that, because that is a mess from top to bottom. We cannot continue, nor will we be able to build and function realistically if the organization that is to manage these new houses is in itself a mess. Simple and easy, okay? That has to be fixed. And as has been said, we also can tap into various fundings, the co-ops, rent to own, all of these things, giving people the opportunity and chance so that they can earn and pass it on to their children, because that is how people build communities. It's that investment transferred from parents to their kids that helps. Thank you.
So the developments in our neighborhoods and the challenge of affordable housing by those seeking to profit from access to basic housing has made it difficult for many of us. How will you invest in more affordable and deeply affordable rental programs, as well as rent-to-own, for lower-income residents in our neighborhoods?
Excellent, thank you. And so this is actually a program that I've worked on in the past where, as elected officials, we work with the private sector. I think that's going to be key here, to develop more affordable housing, a minimum of 20% affordable housing in our communities. Not only that, But what I think we need to do is also revitalize Toronto community housing. When you give people a sense of dignity and pride in where they live, we understand that they act different, that they revitalize themselves, their communities, they uplift themselves. They do feel that sense of pride. And so they can move into that supposed affordable housing, which I am going to ask right now. What is the real problem here? It's not affordable housing. I'll be very honest, because there is a stopgap here. To afford affordable housing, that means you need to be able to afford it to begin with. But there is a gap here between homelessness and affordable housing. So what do we need to do there? We need to create more solutions that keep people from actually becoming homeless. We need more temporary shelters. We need more temporary housing that allow people to then get into Toronto community housing, that they feel a sense of pride in, that then allow them the opportunity to uplift themselves, get work so that they can afford the affordable housing, which I don't think anybody is addressing. We just keep talking about affordable housing without understanding that prior to that, there is homelessness, which needs to be addressed to get there.
I like one thing I said. He's doing his research. This is the thing about understanding what you're talking about. I think he sees not only the isolated problem. You might say, okay, this is because I'm learning how to learn, right? So you might say, okay, homeless housing. How am I going to frame this? Is this a symptom? Is this you know what I mean? Is this the problem? Then you see, like, he sees, okay, let me look at the whole picture. Where does this fit? The homeless housing fit in the picture? Like, oh, it's homelessness. Boom, boom. That's the thing of really understanding what you talk about. The more you understand, the more you can see. It's intuitive to me, so it's hard to explain. Is it's like when you see it where it is, now you can adjust. Let's say we do build a bunch of homeless houses, you know, like affordable houses, but how does that affect the bigger picture? Does fixing one problem create another problem? You see what I'm saying? I missed that one. I was too late. But yeah, does fixing one problem create another problem? That's the importance of, like, really understanding the landscape, getting a lay of the landscape, and see how information fit with each other, how they interact with each other. You know what I mean? Okay, where can I put this? Before I thought this was like this. You know what? It's not like that. Let me I reorganize, I rethink it, and I'm realizing this is actually like this, and this is fit our way. This is yeah. Hope you guys get it, but yeah, that's what I gotta say.
That people into affordable housing. I also don't think that we have a crisis. I think we have a willingness problem of our elected officials to actually not bend to the whims of the developers. I made it in time.
He improves.
Right in time.
Hi. All right. I've been an activist since 2010 at City Hall. And one of the longest standing conversations that we have was inclusionary zoning. Happily to say that we have some inclusionary zoning made, a tiny effort, but we need more than that. I agree we need to have 20% of social housing increasing in construction, and rent to own is the good way to go. Unfortunately, I had to bring some bad news. Again, Barbara will criticize me for repeating the name Doug Ford, the premier of this province. But again, this individual is holding back money to the City of Toronto operational budget. Without the funding from the province, we will never achieve all those goals. So this is the bad news I had to tell you guys. We voted Doug Ford, we didn't, but 40% in this province because they didn't care about voting. So you see my t-shirt, vote. Because that's the only way that we can get our voices heard and change the way that's happening. I got arrested at Trinity Bellwoods Park, and I know how difficult it is for people to find housing. Go by Allen Gardens right now. There are 32 tents right there. You know what the offer they're giving to them is a hotel room and no permanent housing in a crowded shelter, and that's shameful. Thank you.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Houses where you can only rent is crazy. Oh, that's crazy. We can't even own that bitch. Nigga, that's not your home. You can't even call that shit your home, bro. That's not your home, bro. All the memories you doing that shit, I don't know. Maybe I picture what a home is differently, bro. Like you lived in this place. You grew up in this place. I mean, like memories and stuff. You ate. Things change. That's a home, dude. I mean, like, you built memories. You know what I mean? After work, this is where you're supposed to be safe. After work, after you're going out in the world in the public getting beat up, you go back to your home where you can recharge, where you can be yourself without nobody judging you. I mean, I don't know. I just went on a tangent because I'm like behind like the police station, like in fucking Division 42. There's like houses where you cannot buy it. I taught my word. I'm talking to people there, bro. I'm telling me, bro. Like, nah, we rent. Like, we just be renting. It's good. Like, it's good, but my nigga, like, bro, you just, like, you gotta keep working or something. Like, you gotta keep paying that shit for the rest of your life, bro. And someone else is gonna replace you. And I don't know. I feel like ownership is dying in a sense. I don't know.
So, some years ago, there was a debate.
Thing about him, it's not bad. He's saying what he's saying. I think, I don't think he's gonna win. Just because I don't think he's very niche, if that makes sense. He's very, people who love him are gonna love him because he speaks directly to them. He's not going too broad. Yeah, I think he might have a lot of depth, but not too much width.
Development just a few hundred meters north of here, where they demolished community housing with the promise of replacing it with even more affordable housing. Now, we do have some of the nice condos here that some of my colleagues actually live in, not here necessarily, but elsewhere. But what we don't have is the community housing that was promised. Now, there's obviously a breakdown here, and anybody who thinks there's not a crisis going on is not paying attention. I disagree with those who believe that our parks should become a permanent solution for broken shelters, lack of housing, lack of support. I do not agree with that. I believe that this is beyond an emergency, and there's a crisis here. And that the first thing I must do as your councillor is make sure that we have people not forced to live outdoors, but to live indoors, for heaven's sake. Thereafter, to immediately fast track through the co-op system, which I do understand, and I am also a liaison with the CHFT. The point is, we have a program in place that will immediately help convert some of those Toronto community housing into co-op housing. I do not agree with turning over open land to developers who claim to be not-for-profit, because sometimes they accidentally make a profit and they accidentally don't bring the housing that they promised in the first place.
Hi. The affordability issue is a crisis. You're not going to get anybody who disagrees with that. But there's a couple of things we also need to think about. The definition of doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, we know doesn't work. We know that there are going to be a massive need with the influx of people coming into Ontario over the next 10 years that we do need to create units. Not everything has to happen in Ward 13. We need to plan smartly. We need a development plan that makes sense. We need to ensure, we're talking about the SSHAs. Our own Auditor General has shown how $13.2 million was wasted. We have people living in encampments, and yes, absolutely shame on us in a city like this to have people living in an encampment, but we need to work together to the right plan, because all our communities, nobody's going to say there's not a crisis, but we need to do smart development.
I just realized something. My bad. I should realize something. They're all speaking of something like, okay, I realize the more competent you are in the subject of housing, like the guy on red, the guy in like the red stuff. I think his name's Nikki. His or hers. I apologize. My bad. But I think the more competent you are on the subject, the more okay we want to vote for you. I realize, we are appealing as the council. We are appealing to a lot of people. We are representing our ward, and I'm realizing the majority of people don't even know. So I'm like, maybe I can take that approach of like, you know what, you don't have to know, and that's okay. Let's understand this together. You know what I mean? Let's understand this together. How does housing work? What? Oh, they rent land, and developers like say it's non-profit. So how does that work? I didn't know that. You know, it was like, gang. I think the best thing we can do is, maybe for me, is making information digestible, making information where people know what's going on. Is like I really become a teacher in a sense. Just like, okay, this is what's going on, and you make your own. You know what I mean? You make your own decision about it. You know what I mean? Because I think the leader can't do everything, and we as the people need a bit more accountability. Right? But at the same time, I get it. There's a lot going on in your life. There's a lot going on in my life where it's like, what, I don't know what to start with. You know what I mean? There's like 100 billion things, and I gotta focus on that. No, now you're telling me I gotta educate myself on this, educate myself on this. I just, like, sometimes realistically you just don't have time, Brody. Oh, it's like, bro, I just like, most people just want to work, go home, and mind their business in peace. You know what I'm saying? Mind their business in peace. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, maybe that could be a strategic thing I could do, is educate them. Maybe through creative means, content. Just like, okay, this is what's going on. We don't want to lie to you. I want you guys to know authentically this is how it works, and let's see, how would we solve this? How is this affecting us? How can we, now that we know every piece of the puzzle, okay, if we do move this piece, it's gonna affect us in that way. Are we okay with that? You know what I mean? If we do move this piece with that piece, it's gonna do this, but in 20 years or 5 years, this might happen. Are we okay with that? You know what I mean? There's more, just understanding and shit, bringing, educating the people so they get smarter too, and they kind of know, they have more, now that they know what's going on. They feel kind of, I was kind of late for that one, but they kind of like, they feel more in control. They feel like I have more grasp, I have more control in my destiny. This person's not trying to take advantage of me, or like, now he's really showing me, okay, he's breaking it down for me to understand, and now I have more grasp. Let me make a decision based off of that. You know what I mean? Or let me go deeper in my own research and really dig deep, and maybe I can find my own solution and bring it up to him. And now, it's like, we're all trying to win, Rudy. We can't rely too much on our leaders, we gotta like take accountability, but at the same time, I know, I get it, I empathize, like, nigga, it's not, you don't want to be studying, bro. Like, you after a long day of work, you don't want to be studying, bro. You don't want to be like, I just trying to drink a beer and watch the Blue Jays game, bro. I just gave my life to a company that fucking made billions off of me, bro. So I'm kind of like, bro, I'm just, I don't care. Like, some of it, I ain't gonna lie, I don't even blame people that don't vote. I don't blame people that just like, I don't give a fudge nugget, bro. I don't give a fuck. I just wanna get the money, go back to my family, but I don't care about the war right now. I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to be alive. I'm here. I'm just trying to be alive. I'm just trying to do something. I don't want to know. It's not like, it's not that I don't care about the war. It's not that I'm not empathetic. It's just there's so much going on, nigga. There's so much going on. Where it is like, bro, every day is something new. So it's like, I get it. And
Development.
I guess that comes with learning is prioritization. What should we prioritize? Like I said, there's a lot. I'm trying to be the best. So much information. I'm like, okay, how do we put the pieces together? How do I organize it? How what should we be focused on? Health, boom, boom. Like, what's the the Pareto principle for life? You know what I mean? Like in the society, like what do we really need to focus on right now? And this is kind of things we don't need to focus on right now. But we need to do this. We need to work on this. But yeah, that's why I need a team. I feel like I've been doing this on my own. But if I have to do it on my own, I'm gonna do it on my own. But really, got that bitch.
We need to plan, and we need to plan from beginning to end and get the right people in place and have accountability so that when we are developing, it is sustainable. It is meeting the needs of our communities for multi-generational individuals and seniors, and we have the right supports in place. Thank you. I'll keep quiet.
In a sense, I feel like they're all saying the same thing, and they kind of feel like they might have nuances, but they feel like they're all in it's saying the same thing, except for the indigenous guy that's more niche. Like, these are my specific issues that I'm concentrated on. So now, if they're all saying the same thing, how do we choose? I feel it will go to the most we feel is the most competent, or that knows the most everything, or someone that impacted us, I guess. I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking. My mind is going.
Thank you so much, all of you, for your thoughts. Now we move on to the next prepared question, and I'll read the question now. On behalf of the Region Park youth and their experiences in this community, how would you transform the culture of policing in our ward to improve the trust that young people have in the policing of their community? And the order that we'll follow for this question is Colin, Dave, Miguel, Nikki, Caroline, and Chris. So we start with you.
I got a lot to say about that, nigga. Sheesh. I
had to get this one to start, didn't I? Yeah. Policing. So let's look at the reports coming out of the police department first of all. They recently admitted that there is racism, which is a good step. It took them, 150 years. But that's, hey, we're getting there. So that is the problem. Okay, there definitely is an issue relating to police when they deal with black, people of color, indigenous youth. So my thing is, first of all, ask the youth how they would like to go about this. The second thing for me is that the onus is not on the youth, the onus is on the police to get back that respect. Okay? And that is not something that you're going to do overnight. It's not easy, but there are methods that we can do and we can try. Okay? Consultations with the police. I know, for example, that the Toronto Community Housing actually recently just arranged a meeting between some of its kids with the police, with the chief of police. Sadly, they arranged it at the last minute, so there was not enough response. But these are some of the things we need to do to engage. We also need to have councillors as well. We need to decriminalize the police force, and we need to take some of that funding that they have, the $1.3 billion, 80% of which goes to salaries, to start engaging and building stuff where youth can be engaged, where parents can be engaged, and where we can build that community and rebuild that trust. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I feel like I'm going to have to do this 1 point form so I can just get it within that time limit. Because there's a lot that I would like to say as a BIPOC, LGBT, youth-ish, don't laugh, youth-ish person. And that is the fact that I understand this firsthand. When the police is called, where is that mental health officer? Is what I would like to ask. What I would actually like to see is reallocation of funding for policing. Instead of only these types of officers that specialize in this type of behavior and this type of organization, where is the other one? Because again, I want to go back to that idea of community safety and mental health. Thank you. And that is exactly what I want to look at. There is a need for the police services. I will never deny that. But there is a need for proper education of our public services and the people that work for us. And that's what I would like to look at. Proper mental health education, not a one-day seminar that is taken for an hour to understand that idea. I would like to see specialized police services that deal with mental health, de-escalation, and such related causes within the community, so that when they are called, they can actually dispatch which one is needed for this case. That way we can avoid anybody who is encountering a scenario like myself, where they encounter a violent scenario with the police for no apparent reason. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a long-standing activism with the Toronto Police. I have been a regular since the year 2010. I attended yesterday a board meeting of the Toronto Police, and we were discussing the word training of future police officers. And one of the things that really impressed me is that they want to incorporate some of the lessons learned from Minnesota with regards to George Floyd. And they were trying to tell the new recruits how to engage with the youth in a way that is less intimidating. And now that program will start in 2023, and I look forward for that discussion at the Police Services Board, because I told the Mayor John Tory, I want to be at the table. Nothing about us without us. That's what my experience as an indigenous person. I have been carded, I have been racial profiled, I have been arrested many times. So that is because I speak about the injustices done by the police. When it comes to the youth, what we need to have is safe spaces. And that's what the goal of the Phases 4 and 5 in Regent Park is, to create safe spaces for our youth to hang out and be just kids. Thank you very much.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I love this nigga pants and shoes. I'm kind of like, okay, nigga, he's militant, you know, a little
The
bit.
question is, what are we going to do?
Kind of militant, you know, a little militant going on here. You know?
What do we think?
Yeah, say I'm ready for
How would you
revolution.
transform the culture of policing in our ward?
So I've been an advocate for 35 years, and I've been doing a lot of work in this field throughout that period of time. Firstly as a volunteer with the 519 Community Center, dealing with the worst abuses of LGBT oppression, what have you. I was also deeply engaged within the community. I think you remember there was some dreadful series of murders. I won't repeat the guy's name, but there was a serial killer in my community, and the police relationship was so poor that they couldn't get evidence back and forth. I worked directly with the police. I was extremely critical, but in a productive fashion. I was also critical on the issues of Tess Ritchie, whose body was found by a mother a few steps just down the road from me. The police failed to get out of their police car, for heaven's sakes. And then, of course, poor Allura Wells, who was misidentified because of a breakdown in communication between 53rd Division and 51 Division. Who watches the watchman? It's an old phrase. And nothing can happen unless you actually
That's a bar.
show up to these
Who watches the watchman?
and hold police officers to account. We pay them a great deal of money
Mhm.
to do service for us.
Mhm.
It needs to be sensitive to local folk, but it must provide safety for all of us. And that does not happen. They've been trained enough over the past few years, for heaven's sakes. It's a straightforward job. Keep the streets safe. We will pay you to do a job. I can't believe we're even having this conversation.
No
Still
kids.
20 years on.
No kids.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like this guy in there. I like this guy. Yeah, some real niggas say some real niggas shit, man.
So I want to tell you a little story first. In 1954, a young kid stopped a police officer in the United States, and he said his bike had been stolen. And whoever had stolen it, he's going to whoop him.
Mm-hmm.
And the police officer asked him, well, do you know how to fight? And he said no. So the police officer took him to the boxing gym where he mentored youth and where he taught youth how to fight. In 1960, this youth won the Olympic gold medal as Cassius Clay. We might know him as Muhammad Ali. So we know, and I'm going to quote his from his funeral, that basically in a packed stadium filled with former presidents and dignitaries, America must never forget that when a cop and an inner city kid talk together, then miracles can happen. So what we need to do is listen to our youth, engage with our youth, fund the police so that they can mentor. Not one person I've met with has said they don't want more policing. They want community policing. They want engagement. We must integrate and engage our communities to ensure that the programs and procedures are in place to reintegrate juvenile offenders. We must recognize our youth's voice in the decision process and keep working together. Thank you.
No, I used to be a police officer, but more importantly, I am a school board trustee. And when being a school board trustee, one of the things I've always said to my superintendent when they are hiring or staffing our schools here in Toronto Centre, in that make sure the VP or principal look like the students that they serve. Goes a long way, believe it or not. And secondly, I believe that when it comes to policing, we should focus on enforcement and and prevention, crime prevention. More importantly, a lot of our young kids today actually suffer from mental health, right? The pandemic has made it crazy. I'm trying to use soft language here. And I'm so happy that, we'll have a 3-digit number, 988, as of next year, a non-emergency number that when a child or a youth or someone in our community is in need of help, they will receive it. And we should start supporting services like the Gersten Center that actually comes to a non-emergency situation where mental health exists, and they can actually deal with it in a professional way. The police have been mandated to do all things for everyone, and that's not actually not fair to the police because they're not trained to do everything. They're trained to do specific jobs. I know because I was one. But if you offer the police more money, they will take it.
Yeah.
Do the best that they can. So you're gonna kill me today. But anyways, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our candidates for the responses for this question. Also, our timekeeper. For this section of the night, we're going to be moving to audience questions. So we're taking questions directly from the audience.
Directly from the
questions
audience.
that were posed to the candidates were prepared questions. So we had 3 prepared questions. So now we're going to be taking questions from the audience, both in person and online. I'm going to start off by having one question in person first. The question itself is to be 1 minute, and the responses are also 1 minute. One and a half. Okay, 1.5 minute responses. Awesome. So I guess I see a hand. I think the first one I saw right in the middle over there. So I'm going to go over there and.
So anybody among the candidates could respond to this question, that what procedures or what programs would you take in place in order to remove or to deal with the unemployment of the immigrants, and especially the newcomers, like the qualified people who make it here, but the opportunities are not offered to them, like depriving them of the career opportunities for certain reasons of Canadian experience or whatever is there. So how would you deal with this specific population of the qualified people but not getting the right things that they deserve? Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll go in the order of Dave, McGill, Nikki, Caroline, Chris, Colin.
Thank you very much. And from what I understood, that was specifically looking at skilled individuals who come to the country, newcomers, that are not able to find work as a result of lack of Canadian experience. Is that correct? Okay, so one thing that I would look at, actually, there is an office that exists, but it's highly underutilized, which is something that I think is so unfortunate. This should be introduced to every newcomer that comes here, which is the Office of the Fairness Commissioner. Some may have heard of it. I believe most people don't even know that it exists. But the Office of the Fairness Commissioner is something that exists in every single province here in Canada. And when a newcomer comes here, what they can do is actually find out how their credentials will equal whatever it is in Canada and what they need to do in order to access the same level of work with the same levels of qualifications and skills, etc., that they have based on whatever their education was where they work. So something that I would personally like to do is actually beef up the Office of the Fairness Commissioner. I think that's something that was highly underutilized that needs to, so that newcomers actually understand that their skills are valued when they come here. And there is an opportunity for each and every one of them. Isn't that why they came here to begin with? Because they saw opportunity. So let us give them that opportunity. We need to help them navigate the system. That is truly what I feel is the hardest part, navigating that bureaucracy. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. I think that is a federal matter that you need to address with your MP. But again, I want to say a word of hope. The federal government is allowing now students to work a few hours during the week. So that is commendable of the Prime Minister's office. I think other professions are being allowed to be tested and start looking for work. There shouldn't be no car drivers working on the streets, and there used to be mathematicians, scientists in their homes of origin, and it shouldn't be that way. We should give opportunity to everybody. But here in the local
makes a fair point, though.
level, we have a problem. For instance,
You
I
could
am
be a doctor
building,
in your country,
resident,
but you
and
come
I'm a
here and
proud
again.
TCSU representative. One of the things that we have is local 416. When we want to get jobs for our community, we find some systemic barriers that we can break through. So I want to expand that opportunity so we don't have to be unionized to get a job. So we have to improve the laws that matter for the municipalities so that we can incorporate more people to work. In this case, for Toronto Community Housing, those barriers should be eliminated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent. That's a very big question. Let me begin by talking about unemployment in Toronto Centre in a general sense. We know the cure for poverty? Money. And so full employment means we can raise the standard of living for everybody. One of the great things about being a city councillor is that you can act as a clearinghouse for information. It's true that some of this is provincial, by the way. If you're talking about the medical profession, is provincially regulated, but some of this is also federally regulated. And a good councillor can act as a clearinghouse to coordinate with the provincial representative, who is Kristen Montan, and the federal representative.
I think why I'm starting to like him is because I feel the way he speaks, he feels like he understands the role and and the power that goes with it, and what a good counselor looks like. Like a good counselor, he's not saying me, but it's in there. I'm saying very smart.
Representative, who I'm just having a brain moment here. But the point is that say again. Oh, Marcy, of course, yeah, Marcy, Marcy. But the point is to have a collegial relationship to help facilitate getting things like transcripts and what have you. The other thing I'd like to point out is that we have an awful lot of employment by the City of Toronto through the construction process. And there is an Indigenous centre opening up right now to begin to train people so that those jobs are not given to people who drive into town, ruin our streets, and then drive out and vote for you know who. But actually to keep those jobs in our neighborhood. And finally, the City of Toronto during COVID has laid off an enormous number of people on the part-time side, and those represent new opportunities while we help people get the transcripts and the equivalencies from wherever they come from originally. So thank you for an excellent question.
I think that is a great question that's been asked. Now, In my opening remarks, I talked about the opportunities that were available to me as a new immigrant and how we worked together to support each other. And it was through my neighbours and the friends and my profession that I was able to build a life here. And there are people coming in with incredible skill sets and with great knowledge and have gone through their trainings in their home country. Now, some of that, it just requires maybe sitting another exam just to confirm that, you know, the standards are the same or we're meeting the same educational requirements. But also I'm going to go back to something else I said. We have created an environment of divisive language, and we've not been supporting each other. We need to welcome our new immigrants coming in, and we need to give them the supports that we as residents and neighbours can give. We can give people a break. We can work with them. We can introduce them. And as a city, we can come together and ask and work towards ensuring that it's an easier, paid-for transition to the level of education that is potentially required here, or getting your papers to say you're succeeded. But I come back to the one simple thing. We need to work together and support each other and stop the us versus them. Thank you.
So my fellow candidates were correct when they said that this is a provincial and federal issue. But nonetheless, you know, in positions of privilege like myself, being a school board trustee, you can advocate for your community. And I have done that at the Ontario Public School Board Association, of which I have been a member for the last 4 years. And what I mean by that is that working with other school boards in the provincial government, I've been able to actually get non-certified teachers to fill the gaps where needed. And so there is value in these things. And I alluded to the Ontario line earlier in that there are skilled jobs available, good paying jobs available, if your counselor actually advocates on your behalf to actually have a good paying job. So again, there are opportunities there that can be had. Another example is phases 4 and 5 taking place shortly, you know, here in Regent Park with Tridel. There's an opportunity for the counselor to speak with Tridel to make sure that our community is actually employed in the build-up of phases 4 and 5. And again, these are good, skilled, paying jobs that you could actually retain and perhaps move on to something else when it comes back. So those are things that are tangible that I can do in the role of city councilor.
So I guess we all remember that there was a pandemic, right? Okay. So if we all remember, there was a crisis with nurses. Well, guess what? Suddenly nurses from foreign countries were being fast-tracked to fill the void. Remember that, okay? So we can actually do this. It can be done. People coming from other countries with degrees can be fast-tracked. All it needs is mentorship and a system set up and put in place. TMU University, it used to be Ryerson, which used to be Ryerson Polytechnic, anyway, whatever the case may be. Keeping track is a part of it. Okay. They actually have a program where they actually do fast-track people, okay? Doctors can be fast-tracked. There's a system within the University of Toronto Medical School, okay? So we can do it. What we need to do is to actually sit back, link people to these programs, which is where we come in as counselors, and that is what we need to do. Communication, streamlining, setting up a system where people can be tested to standardized basis. That's what we need. It's not complex. Trust me, when pandemics occur, we find solutions. Let's just think of every day as a damn pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Our next audience question will be from a member of the audience joining us online. So I will quickly.
So this is a question from a person named Waleed, and he is from Regent Park and works in Moss Park. and he's in a loud cafe, which is why he's not asking his question and I'm doing it for him. What would you do to build consensus with other councillors to oppose the agenda of a strong mayor? What would you do? Question, and I'm doing it for him.
That's a good question.
What would you do to build consensus with other councillors to oppose the agenda of a strong mayor? What would you do to build consensus with other councillors to oppose the agenda of a strong mayor?
And the order we will follow for this question is
That's a good question.
Miguel,
I'm not gonna lie.
Miguel, Nikki, Caroline, Chris, Colin, and then Dave.
Thank you, Wally, for the question. I want to say that I am not in favor of the mayor's power given by the province of Ontario, Doug Ford. It is an intrusion of our city democracy. It's a threat to our democracy. And basically what we need is 2/3 votes to go against the mayor's decisions. You know, many of those decisions will be influenced by Doug Ford's insiders who will tell the mayor, you know, what is good for the province. It's not, as you know, Doug Ford doesn't care about people with disabilities. Doug Ford doesn't care about people who are poor. And the mayor doesn't care either. So what we need is a strong new mayor, like my good friend over here, Isabella Gang, who's running for mayor, and other people that as well who are running against John Tory. It's time to tell John Tory, enough is enough, goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Waleed. It's a big challenge that Mayor John Tory was never a pushover, never exactly a weak mayor. And now with new powers, it's more entrenched than ever. Now, setting aside the rhetoric or rhetoric of for a strong mayor, you need to have a strong council. You also need to have a smart one. Because the fact of the matter is that partisan politics at city floor does not work to our benefit. No matter what stripe John Tory is, the fact of the matter is we have to work with people with whom we disagree on some important issues. We have never had a councillor, well, we haven't for the past 12 years had a councillor from this ward that sat on the executive committee. And without getting too deep into the weeds, if you're not on the executive committee, you're not part of the budget. If you're not part of the budget, you're not part of the solutions. So a strong councillor needs to represent us vigorously.
Executive committee.
But also be smart, collegial if necessary, and work across party lines. That's why we have a coalition of colours on our literature. It's not just good design, it's built in to how we approach this. So, what we will not do is name calling. What we will do is look for workable, sustainable solutions that work for Toronto Centre and Toronto as a whole.
Right there, sure.
In doing that, I believe that we can endure a strong mayor if we have a strong council. Thank you.
A few things I am.
I think asking about the strong mayor is an important question. It's something that's new. It's coming down the pipeline. And as some people have noted, you know, a 3/4 agreement with city councillors can, overturn if they're trying to act unilaterally. You as residents don't deserve an autocrat. So we know that having a strong mayor regime where somebody can unilaterally make decisions may not necessarily be in the best interest of us as residents. But we also recognize that sometimes when people are just not reaching a consensus and not agreeing, then we're stalwarling and we're not moving forward. So I have to say that as a city councillor with my years of experience in the private sector and negotiating to win-win situations, it is us as strong councillors. But more importantly, we're strong councillors because we have you behind us. And it is your voice that I am here to represent and listen. And then to bring my years of experience in working with clients globally and domestically, and bringing that into City Hall so that we find consensus. As I say to teams regularly, A good deal means not everybody walks away happy. But
I like
us
her.
understanding, listening,
She's
working
good.
together, we can manage a strong mayor because we're Ward 13. Thank you.
You know, for 6 years, I've worked on a very diverse school board. And the way I've gotten through and the way I've succeeded the way I have is because I focus on issues. You know, people get into public service because they care about their city. And we can find common cause always. And again, the new mayor system, or the strong mayor system, holds the mayor to account. He can hire and fire staff. He appoints people to heads of departments. So I'm sure, you know, going forward, I can work with whoever the mayor is with, who is. For example, you know, again, we have a housing crisis in the city, and the current city councillors, including John Torres, who's re-elected, believes that there is a housing crisis, and he wants to work to figure out how to mitigate the issues that are before us today, including crime and so forth. And those are the things I care about, and those are the things that you care about, because you've told me. So I want to make sure we build the duplexes and triplexes, and we also build affordable housing and mitigate the crime in the ward, and make sure we have proper transit and less congestion. Those are the things I'm focused on. Those are the things that you mentioned that's important, and those are the things I will speak to my council colleagues about, because they too have the same issues in their wards.
So this strong mayor thing might be new to Canada, but most of the world has always had mayors who had a veto power. So I think we are in many cases just joining the rest of the world. How am I going to deal with this? Well, I'm gay, I'm black, I used to be involved with people who use drugs. I think I know how to have a conversation with most people, generally speaking, and get people to the table. I mean, I'm on the decriminalization proposal for the city of Toronto. I have worked in various other areas where it has required people, we have had to deal with people who, to say did not come from the same place I did, but we can sit, we can talk, we can have that conversation. He was given these powers because they want to push through the affordable housing, which I'm all about. However, I also think that if we get to the point where the mayor really begins to strut his stuff a bit too much, then as a council, we can sit back together and have that conversations with him. This is about dealing with each other, respecting each other, talking, taking what your views are and looking what's best for Toronto. As I said, creating Toronto 2.0. Thank you.
Thank you, and I want to address two things that my fellow candidates mentioned. I know, Nikki, you said that a strong mayor requires a strong council, and I will just say one thing that I would love to add to that is a collaborative council. People that can work together, people that can get along, people that can understand that this is the agenda for the people rather than the agenda of the mayor. Also, as you mentioned, this is us joining the rest of the world. We know that this is going to happen whether we
Agenda of the
like it or
people, not the
So
mayor.
how do we work within that? How do we as a community come together and say this is what we would like from this? And that is my one job, to listen to you. My job isn't to get involved in all of that. My job isn't to cross those party lines, as my candidate or my fellow candidate had mentioned, is to actually be politically ambiguous, is to represent you. What are your interests? And not align with any particular parties, which is not what I intend to do. It's get along with everybody. How do we make the best decisions for each and every one of you? Now, I was born in the village. I was raised in Flemo, lived in St. James, lived in Regent Park. I will say one thing, come at me, bro. Can't handle me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our next audience question will be from our live audience. So, I saw your hand up the first, so could you please keep your question brief and to the point? Thank you.
Hi. Climate change, whether we like it or not, is happening. And I just want to know what your plans are for dealing with that in a evidence-based way, and about transportation and food and water and everything that goes with it.
Thank you. The order that we'll start with is Nikki, Caroline, Chris, Colin, Dave, and Miguel.
Well, if you're asking me to solve climate crisis in the next 4 years, I will do my best. But I will tell you that, I ran provincially recently, even though our campaign now is everybody. I ran as the Green Party candidate. My candidacy today is the only one that is fully endorsed by Mike Schreiner, the leader of the Green Party of Ontario. It's also fully informed by their platform, which was generally recognized across party lines to be the most inclusive, economically sustainable, and ambitious and workable. I've also signed off on the TA and various other environmental processes. But in short, here in Toronto Centre, we have an amazing opportunity to lead the world. See, too often, the City of Toronto looks south to our friends at New York City, concrete jungle, for an example of how to make a city area green. I've come from Europe, a small place so much like this, where we have different mixed use. We have a certain amount of park space. I believe we can turn Toronto Centre, this small little jewel, into the leader in Toronto, the leader in Ontario, the leader in Canada, and frankly the leader in North America, by introducing some low-hanging fruit, to use a green analogy, by preserving our parks, by making green space on top of our buildings, by making sure that you can plug in a car anywhere in Toronto Centre. Small, achievable, attainable, economically sustainable things to be done right now. Look at the website for more stuff. Thank you very much for a great question.
Climate change is real. We know. You ask for evidence-based science is telling us. We see it, we feel it, we have storms, and we have, new weather systems. So, quite frankly, if we don't solution the climate crisis and address the environment, then what are any of us doing? We won't have a city to fight over city council for. It is a crisis that we need to take seriously. Now, I've recently become a part of a Transform TO, which is an initiative that the city has to help with addressing climate change, and I'm what's called a Neighbourhood Climate Action Change Champion. And our whole focus is to spread the word about the realities of the environment and the challenges we're facing, so that people can make informed decisions. We need to invest in sustainability, in proper transit, in an infrastructure that not only gets people from A to B, but it does it in a manner with zero emissions. We need to move our buses to zero emissions. We need to actually follow through on the development plans to ensure that buildings being developed are sustainable. We need to revitalize our parks and our ravines, and together we can. But it's through us being engaged and seeing the importance of this. So thank you.
At the school board, most of our schools actually have green roofs and solar roofs. And we've received many awards over the years. So we're on the right track when it comes to the school board. Also, too, I've encouraged students to walk, bike, and rollerblade to school for 12 months of the year. And then support more bike lanes, of course. But also, what we can do at the city level is actually, encourage businesses to actually make their buildings more green, and also to make our public buildings more green as well. And additionally, build better transit. That will also be useful. And I want to add as well that we need to build multiplex homes rather than single unit homes. Because per household, we burn more green gases than we would in a multiplex facility. So those are just some of the tangible things that we can do to reduce climate change. I'm not saying that, that is all we can do, but that's definitely a start. And as a councillor at City Hall, those are the things that I can actually change. And for example, to bring it home, in regards to phases 4 and 5 in Regent Park, when we as a community speak to Tridel, those are the things that we can say to them that is a priority to us here in Toronto Centre. Perfect timing.
I want, as a city councillor, I would definitely want to make sure that this city is there for the generation to come and the generation after that. So most definitely some of the things we can concretely do is to ensure that houses and everything, buildings, all adhere to the latest developments, solar energy, wind energy, greening of roofs, electrifying them. All of these things need to be done. But we also need to make sure that families and houses also take benefit of things like this. So put solar paneling on your house, change your water heater, make it more efficient. These are the little things we can do. Recycling, as it is right now, we really don't recycle. Trust me, 3/4 of what we think we recycle actually ends up in the same place it's been ending up for the last 50 years, okay? We need to change that. We need to really start recycling, okay? That, for me, therefore, comes down to two big things. Changing our mindset and following through on that change. And I think that is where I, as a city councillor, can lead by example. And that's what I plan to do. To lead by example, follow what I think is best through evidence-based theories as to how to address climate change. And then you watch me, I watch you back. We need to watch each other because we want to make sure that this is here for the children. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and I think this is a very important one because elected officials would like to call themselves community leaders. But in order to be a community leader, you actually have to lead the community. And this is where I think the tables need to be reversed. I think our elected officials need to lead the charge in terms of going green. Instead of penalizing the behavior of us as a community, I think they need to incentivize good behavior in the community. Give us the tools, the resources, and the desire to want to go green, but they, as elected officials, need to change the way they operate. And I think that's where it needs to start. We need to lead by example. So this is going green in terms of transit, going green in terms of all new developments, retrofitting old developments. We already know that we are 20 to 25 years behind the rest of the world when it comes to green initiatives. So on top of doing...
And that is not acceptable. So if we want to address the issue of climate, we also have to tackle the social justice part.
Our next question and final audience question will be coming from the online audience. So, any prepared questions here?
I'm gonna end it with that for the video getting too long. I'm gonna have to post this video, post the other videos, so I get space on my phone. But I do know that my phone iPhone can record quite a long time, which is good. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna try to record another hour video. It's gonna be about Raul. I don't know if you guys know him. He's like a streamer. It's about money. I've been on my $1 million journey, crossing that line. So I'm just trying to see where I'm gonna watch that video, gauge where I'm at. Does he know more than me? Let's see, what do I know, what do I not know? But same thing I'm doing here, just like where am I? What do they talk about? What do I know, what do I not know? How much further, you know what I mean? And I'm just trying to gauge where I'm at and where should I work on, things I can work on. But now I'm gonna go more on financial stuff, but I'm on it here. I'm gauging a little bit a while, like, okay, these are how they speak, how they address themselves, what I like, what I don't like. I'm learning from all of them. You know what I mean? I'm all learning from all of them. I'm picking pieces that I like, I don't like. What's best, what's not best, how are they speaking, how are they communicating, how are they presenting themselves. What points do they feel passionate about? Yeah, they all have good pieces. I'm just trying to pick the best. Yeah, let's hope road to being the best leader. Shit hard as hell. We gonna try, but yeah, I'm running with that, bro. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all stay blessed. I'm gonna continue the video on my dolos, but I'm learning a lot about the structure, roles. The council can affect laws. I love the question about, like, if we do have a very powerful mayor and I'm against it, how are we gonna deal with it? We're gonna have to play chess with that nigga, bro. Alright, so no more. I gotta take you down. You a pig. Unless you a pig, you're trying to bring your own agenda, not the people's agenda. We gotta take you down. You know what I mean? But yeah. Please subscribe if you want to be part of the journey. You know, cause